It's a nice sunny day today, and I'm taking Betty out. Wow, look at that! So huge. I'm trying to get back to a normal life now. It's been a week or so, and I realised that if I don't stop crying, I don't stop that deep kind of bawling, that deep kind of crying, it's going to kill me. I just woke up this morning, thinking, I know my dad, he wouldn't want that. I don't want that as well. So sometimes you have to be selfish, you have to think about yourself, and I have to stop thinking about my dad, stop crying, and start thinking about myself, like eating well, going for walks, doing exercise, and thinking about my goals in life, and just focusing on myself. Because if I focus on my dad, I won't do anything in my life. Not that I have done much, but yeah. So I realized that my my allergy symptom, that I can't stay in the house, otherwise I'll sneeze. It's not the house itself. Yesterday I went shopping with my son, and he wanted trifle, a large trifle he can share with his sisters, and other trifles, the single ones. He wanted crisps, and what else did he want? Fruits. And I ended up eating some of the food. I ate a trifle, I ate some crisps, I ate biscuits that I hadn't eaten in a long time. I was supposed to test myself to see what happens, and also because those things I crave, they're tempting. I don't usually buy those, but because my son wanted them and they're there, I thought, let me just try one. My brain thinks like this. And last night I had the rasping on the roof of my mouth, and this morning sneezing. Every time I sneeze, it's as if the roof of my mouth has been cut and it's bleeding. It's so painful. It doesn't actually bleed, but it feels that way. Like when I spit, I expect there to be blood, but there isn't. It's that painful. Lots of phlegm, because dairy gives me phlegm. So the yogurt, I had some yogurt as well. Yogurt gives me problems because the probiotics they use is, I think, usually lactobacilli or something like that, and it's made from milk. Even if you buy, I don't know, soy yogurt or coconut yogurt, which isn't milk, but the bacteria is made from milk. And some of those probiotics actually give you problems if you've got a histamine intolerance problem anyway. So anyway, I find that I can switch this allergy on and off, allergy of the house, because I'm sure what's happening is as soon as I eat foods that are high in histamine, for example, I don't know, ham. I had a ham sandwich with wheat bread because my gluten-free bread ran out, that plastic bread. So I had a bread sandwich that's made from wheat and normal bread with ham. And all these are kind of insults to the small intestine, to the gut, because they're lacking maybe an enzyme called DAO, or is it HMNT, or that's another enzyme, whereby your body can deal with all the histamine. Like if you eat, a normal person, if they eat strawberries or ham or avocado or spinach, they don't have a problem with the release of histamine, because these enzymes deal with that, the build-up or whatever, the histamine that's produced from eating those foods. But if your gut is damaged and you don't have enough of that DAO, that enzyme, then you've got problems. You have these histamine symptoms like sneezing, the rasping on the roof of the mouth, postnasal drip, itchiness, a kind of allergic reaction symptoms. So you might be thinking, what's that got to do with the allergy to the house? It's got everything to do with it, because one allergy or intolerance triggers off another one. So I suppose what I'm trying to say is, when I eat foods that have got histamine inside, that creates inflammation or trouble in the gut and makes it more likely for me to have other allergies. For example, for other allergies to be triggered off that usually are dormant, for example, dust allergy or mold or things like that, they don't really appear. But once I have the histamine problem, once I eat foods that are high in histamine and I start sneezing, maybe my immune system gets lower, and it can't handle the house. The problem with the house is there's dust and there's a little bit of mold. If I don't have the histamine reaction, if I eat foods like a very, very simple diet, I can stay in the house. I don't have problems with dust and a little bit of moisture in the air, because the immune system can handle it. That's my way of thinking anyway. It kind of goes under the radar. I suppose, with my dad, the stress of losing my dad, a mourning, bereavement, or whatever it's called, that's going to bring your immune system down. It's going to lower your defenses. I think bereavement also is going to lower your immune system or your defenses. Sadness is bad enough, but a deep kind of sadness is going to open you up for cold, flu, inflammation, or whatever it is. So I can't stay in this state for too long. So what I'm doing now is, I need to be doing that. What I've been doing yesterday, what I did is I was searching for videos of my dad when he was happy, and I was in the care home with him, and we were watching Laurel and Hardy, and we were laughing. I tried to put in front of my eyes, something happy, so it can elicit happy thoughts or imagery, lessen the bad. But we tend to always, the negative is much more powerful than the positive. Looking at those videos where I was laughing with my dad, it made me laugh, made me smile, and it made me feel good. So, and not thinking about the video of my dad when he passed away, the hours before he passed away, he was so helpless, like a baby. And now I contrast that with, when me and him were watching Laurel and Hardy, we were laughing. It's a balance, isn't it, of yin and yang. And it makes me feel happy. When I see him smile, it makes me feel happy. I don't know how other people do this. Some people might say, no, you have to accept reality, the reality of death. Look at death, stare death right in the face on, accept it, and move on. I suppose my way of thinking is that I've looked at death face on, and it's that it's really hurt me. For the last week or so, been crying. The first 3 days, I was really terrible, crying in the field, hugging a tree and crying, thinking about my dad, when I was younger, and I used to call him Papa Mio, my daddy. And I went back to when he passed away, and I was hugging him and calling him Papa Mio, my daddy. The reason why the scene that comes up is my parents used to look after a girl, and she was about my age. And when my dad used to come back home, she used to run to the front door and say, Papa Mio, Papa Mio. And I used to run. I was really jealous and say, no, Papa es mio. Daddy is mine. Yeah. I think I've done my crying. I could cry more, but it's not a type of crying that you can do for long. It really is physically draining, and I think I feel like my body is dying. It's a weird kind of. It's not a thing that I think I could do long term, even for a month. If I did that for a month, I don't know what would happen to my health. I feel physically sick, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, or whatever. On all levels, I feel ill. Well, I felt ill. But yesterday, when I looked at his photos and the videos of him laughing, it kind of healed all those, some of those feelings. It's such a contrast, So I think that's what I'm going to do from now on. I have to be selfish, focus on myself, and not focus on my dad anymore, because I'll be going with my dad if I continue like this, and I won't continue, because as I said, I don't think he would want that. He wouldn't want me to end up dying of sadness, So now I'm just going to think of my goals, what I'm going to do in my life, and yeah. Yesterday I was sitting down on the sofa and watching the old Italian films that he liked. One guy's called Franco Franchi, and he used to play the part of a Sicilian comedian. He's such an idiot. Then I was thinking, even if I watch these videos, to kind of, I don't know, feel closer to my dad, because these are the things that he, he liked. I was thinking, I've got nobody to share this with, so, because there's nobody that speaks Sicilian or speaks Italian or understands. My wife doesn't understand. She wouldn't want to watch anyway, and neither would my kids. The same thing with Laurel and Hardy. Maybe my son and my daughter might want to watch, so I can... But basically what I'm trying to say is I've got nobody to do the things that I used to do with my dad. I've got nobody to share those things that myself and my dad used to like watch Laurel and Hardy, watch that guy Franco Franchi, and those Italian, Sicilian movies. I've got nobody to share that with. Once my dad... And I used to think this. I thought about this in the past, and I thought, once my dad passes away, I can't speak Sicilian anymore. And the Sicilian that I speak is the old Sicilian. Some old gaffer in Sicily might be able to understand me, but modern Sicilians, they hardly speak that language anymore. They speak Italian, the posh language, the main language, the standard Italian. Unless I meet somebody who was born here in England, had parents or family that spoke the old Sicilian, the old language. Yeah, so I was just thinking, I can't talk anymore. I can't talk anymore that language because I've got nobody to talk to. I suppose I could look for some Sicilians, but I don't know if I can trust them. I trust my family, I trust my dad, my mum. Yeah, I can't do basically the things that I used to do with my dad because nobody understands. Maybe I could watch Laurel and Hardy, I suppose. But what I'm trying to say is I feel alone now that my dad's not here. I feel alone. I suppose I'm trying to reignite feelings that I had, happy moments that I had with my dad since I was growing up. Maybe I should make new memories, new happy thoughts and happy memories. But at the same time, I don't want to let go of my old memories with my dad. Anyway, I'm recovering now. They said to me, oh yeah, you should go to the funeral, but I don't really want to go to the funeral. I spent a lot of time with my dad for months and months, well, years, but I saw his decline and it just tore me apart because I promised him, I said, you're going to get better, don't worry. And I tried to research, I tried to pray for him and stuff for many hours a day, and then just staying with him when it was just me and him. It was really difficult for me to be alone with him. It was just me and him. I didn't see any angels, I didn't see any spirit come out of my dad's body. And I have to be honest, I cursed God, I cursed Jesus, I cursed the angels, aliens, spirits, whatever, I cursed all of them. I challenged any of them to come down if they had the bollocks. I was even saying to God, why don't you show yourself, you coward? I called him bastard and Jesus, all of them. I'm not saying proud of that, but nothing to be proud of, I suppose. It's just the way I felt at the time. But I don't know what to say. I've never said those things before. I was so angry. Yeah, going back to what I was saying, I don't know what the hell I was saying. Yeah, about the funeral. People say, oh, you have to show your respect. I don't know what the fuck that means. When I was looking after my dad, that's how I showed my respect. He was alive. He's not here anymore. Oh, his spirit's here or his memory's here. I don't care about that. I care about my dad being alive and doing everything I could. When my dad was alive and everyone was saying, oh, he's going to pass away, there's nothing you can do, I fought tooth and nail to try and find something to save my dad. The amount of stress that I had was unbelievable. I was the one that always, I never gave up hope, and I prayed hours a day. Nobody did this, but now my dad's not here and there's a corpse in a coffin. Everyone's showing their respect, which is good. But the thing is, I'm completely spiritually, emotionally, physically exhausted, and having to go through a funeral and seeing my dad go 6 foot under or whatever, I don't think I can take it. I don't think it might push me over the edge. I'm just exhausted, totally exhausted, and I don't care what other people think. I care about my dad. And then I suppose you might say, well, what would your dad have wanted? Yes, on the one hand, he would want his son to be at the funeral, but on the other hand, he wouldn't want his son to be so sick, and I don't know, pass out or have a heart attack. Or he would want his son, if he's looking down, he would want his son to be happy and to regain his health because the funeral service is just for people. It's not for anybody else. It's not for him. He's not there anymore. I mean, that's the way I see it. And plus, everyone's taken the vaccine. You know, I haven't taken any vaccine. And people like crowd around or kissing each other and stuff. And I don't want to be in a room full of people. You know, the church is going to be full of people. Then afterwards, when you go to the restaurant, it's going to be full of people. It's going to be warm. The last time I had COVID, it destroyed my brain. I don't know why. I had massive headaches, massive fever. And I said to myself, I never want to have this ever again in my life. So there's that as well. All I want to do is, when they're all gone, when they've buried my dad, I want to go to him, kneel down and cry, of course, and pray and just be with him, just me and him. And that's how I show my respect. And I'm going to be the one every week bringing him flowers. Well, everyone else will be gone for months and months and years. I'll be sending him flowers. I'll be praying. I'll be requesting the masses at the Catholic Church once a week or once a month, and I'll be physically going there and talking to him. That's respect. It's not one day you show up, which is, I think it's great. It's a fantastic thing that people show their respect. I don't disagree with it, but there's a deeper respect. There's a deeper love that only a son or a daughter or a spouse can afford to invest in. You know, invest in all that time, all that love, all that, you know, for someone who's really close to you. That's a different kind of respect. So I don't care about people saying, oh, he didn't respect his dad because he didn't go to the funeral. Some people might say that, especially Sicilians. You don't know Sicilians. Bloody hell. They judge, they gossip, just like any group, I suppose. So now I'm going to focus on the things that, you know, I should have been focusing on before. Well, I probably was, but I'll focus on them more. So instead of talking about myself, I just talk about things that I'm interested in. If anybody's interested, I've got about 36. I know one subscriber has left, so I've got 35 subscribers. I think, you know, after I show my dad's passing away video, I'll probably lose about all of them. But yeah, I might get some bad comments. If I get any bad comments on my dad passing away, I probably won't, but you know, I have to prepare myself for some idiots, because you know, you get some idiots, some trolls that say really bad stuff. Yeah, on YouTube you have to be quite you have to have quite a hard head. You have to accept you might get some 12-year-old that will say something really horrible, or I don't know, somebody older or whatever. I'm going to focus on my health and talk about health things from now on. And I've had this on my hand for a few days. My wife hasn't even bloody noticed. You know, I could have an extra nose growing on the side of my head. She wouldn't notice. Oh man. I was making a tea, and as I reached for the tea bags, the steam from the kettle just burnt my arm, and it created that, you know, this big red bit here. But then the other small wound, this one here, the reason I got that is because in the evening it was still stinging, but then Dulga, my dog, the male German Shepherd, he jumped on top of me, and I put my hands out to grab him, and it must have scraped slightly, you know, his face or his collar must have scraped slightly on the wound and created this, you know, so another wound. It's a deeper layer, so this one is just inflammation, and you know, the skin is weak, but then it's like a cut within that, I don't know, within that area, like a few more layers of skin have come off. Yeah, but look how big it is, and my wife hasn't noticed. You know, so it just goes to show how close you are to a person if they can't even notice these things. It is quite big. She still hasn't noticed. Oh well, maybe she'll notice today. Thanks for watching. I hope my videos will get better. I'm going to start talking about health and things that I'm really interested in, and not my life, because my life is a bit miserable. I'm glad that you guys have stuck by me for all this time. Look at her. She's vomiting now because she's just been eating grass. Why do they eat grass? I don't understand. Are they like wannabe vegans? Look at her. My goodness, she always does this. She eats grass and then vomits. Okay. Speak to you guys later. Have a nice day, whatever you're doing, wherever you are. Bye.